A circle is a shape with a fixed point called the center, and the edge of the shape is an equal distance away from the center. The distance from the center to the edge of the circle is called the radius. A line segment that goes through the center and touches the circles at both ends is called the diameter. The diameter is equal to 2 times the radius, or the radius is 1/2 of the diameter. The equation of a circle with the center of h, k and the radius of r is x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared is equal to the radius squared. Find an equation for a circle with a center of -3, 5 and a radius of length 7/4. The equation of a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to radius squared. In this case, my h is -3, my k is +5. So that is x minus -3 squared plus y minus 5 squared is equal to the radius of 7/4 squared. Simplify your double negatives and your equation is going to be x plus 3 squared plus y minus 5 squared is equal to 49/16. Find an equation for a circle with a center of 4, -2 and passes through -1, 6. In this problem we are given 2 points, one of them which being the center and the other one is a point on the edge. Two things we need to find in order to find the equation, one being the center and the other one being the radius. Does not matter which one you find first. In order to find the center, we're going to use the midpoint formula. In order to find the radius, we're going to use the distance formula. The midpoint formula for this one would be the sum of 4 plus -1 divided by 2, -2 plus 6 divided by 2. So the midpoint is 3/2, 4/2 simplifies to the midpoint of 3/2, 2. The radius is the distance formula of -1 minus 4 squared plus 6 minus -2 squared. Square root of -5 squared plus 8 squared. The simplified form of the square root of 25 plus 64 gives me the square root of 89. The equation to our circle, after we simplify the square root of 89 squared, is x minus 3/2 squared plus y minus 2 squared is equal to 89. Go ahead and pause and try to find an equation for a circle with a center of -5, 1 and passes through -3, 3. The two things that you're looking for is the center and the radius. Remember to find the center, you're using the midpoint. And to find the radius, you're using the distance. The midpoint would be negative 5 plus negative 3 divided by 2, and 1 plus 3 divided by 2. Simplified, it would be the midpoint of negative 4, 2. For the radius, we're going to take the square root of negative 3 minus negative 5 squared plus 3 minus 1 squared. 2 squared plus 2 squared will give me a radius of the square root of 4 plus 4, which is the square root of 8. The equation of our circle is going to be x minus negative 4 squared plus y minus 2 squared is equal to the square root of 8 squared. Simplified, x plus 4 squared plus y minus 2 squared is equal to 8. Find an equation for a circle where negative 6, negative 2, and 1, 1 are endpoints of the diameter. In order to find the equation, the two things that we're looking for is the center and the radius. The difference with this problem is that instead of us given the radius, we're given the diameter. Therefore, we need to remember that the radius is 1/2 the diameter. So in this case, we're going to use the distance formula to find the diameter by using the square root of 1 minus negative 6 squared plus 1 minus negative 2 squared the diameter simplifies to be 7 squared plus 3 squared, and that should give you the square root of 49 plus 9, which is the square root of 58, but that is the diameter. Therefore, the radius is going to be half of that, which is the square root of 58, all divided by 2. The center, we're still going to use the midpoint, and that's going to be negative 6 plus 1 divided by 2, and negative 2 plus 1 divided by 2. Negative 5/2 and negative 1/2. The equation to our circle is going to be x minus negative 5/2 squared plus y minus negative 1/2 squared is equal to the square root of 58 over 2 squared. Remember, when you square a fraction, you must square both the top and the bottom. That gives me 58 over 4. And my final answer is x plus 5/2 squared plus y plus 1/2 squared is equal to 29 over 2. Go ahead and pause and try to find an equation for a circle where 7, 3 and negative 2, 5 are endpoints of the diameter. In order to find the equation of a circle, we need to find the center and the radius. For this problem, we're actually given the two endpoints of the diameter. So in this case, we're actually going to take the diameter and cut it in half to find the radius. So the diameter of this problem is going to be the square root of negative 2 minus 7 squared plus 5 minus 3 squared. Simplified version is negative 9 squared plus 2 squared 81 plus 4. And the diameter is going to be the square root of 85. To find the radius, cut that in half. And the radius is square root of 85 over 2. To find the center, we're going to use the midpoint formula. And that should be the sum of 7 plus negative 2 over 2, comma 3 plus 5 over 2. The midpoint simplifies to be the ordered pair 5 halves, comma 4. The equation to our circle is going to be x minus 5 halves squared plus y minus 4 squared is equal to the square root of 85 over 2 squared. Remember, whenever you're squaring a fraction, you must apply it both to the top and to the bottom. So that will give me the answer of 85 over 4.